Hey there everyone, Paolo here, and welcome back. Today I have some early impressions for you guys of Dragon's Dogma. This is the modern PC release of the 2012 PS3 game. Might have been on 360 also, I know it was on PS3. This is actually take two. So the first take was a 32-minute video. I'm going to try to cut that down. The funny thing is that 32-minute video, I talked the entire time, so bear with me. This one might go over a lot. I'm gonna have to probably gloss over a lot of things to keep this one short, as there's a lot of unique mechanics going on in this game, a lot of interesting things to talk about, and we're only gonna be able to gloss over some of them. So right now I'm heading back in. So for the video in the last one, I was out in this field. So this is the main capital town here, main castle. I was out in this field here killing enemies. And I'm going to try and get them to respawn so I can show you guys in this video. So we're going to run to an inn, and yeah, we're going to run to an inn, rest, and hopefully that'll reset everything. And we'll talk a little bit more. So Dragon's Dogma, before we start too much, let me just say I'm a big fan. I don't want to say biased. This game's right up my alley. This game's something that I'm going to like. So there's three games that I see when I talk about this game that this game reminds me of. It reminds me of Dark Souls. It reminds me of The Witcher, Witcher 3 mainly, and it reminds me of Dragon Age, mainly Dragon Age 2, Dragon Age 3 Inquisition. Now, those games, most of them, came out after this game. So it's more, they drew inspiration from this game, but we're going back to this game. It's a little weird because it's an old game, but made new and all that. But there's elements of those three games in this. And we'll talk individually about them. Oh, we got some quests here. What do we have? Escort? Nope. We're not taking an escort quest. There's elements of those three games all tied up in this one to different aspects and stuff, and it makes a great game on its own. So the reason I've stopped here is the first thing we need to do is we might as well talk about the class system because we're right here. So let me bring my party back out here so we can look around. This is my dude. This is Paller. He is a ranger. Ranger's obviously bow focused, hence the big bow on his back. I know, surprising, isn't it? Kind of crazy. Bow is his primary focus, but he also uses daggers. So if I can do this without stabbing someone, see, I have daggers. So there's my daggers, and then I can pull out my bow and I can shoot my bow. And I also get like special attacks. There's a high precision shot, and then firing 6 shots. And the way this works, if you're watching the lower right hand corner, so if I'm not holding any modifiers, X is flurry attack, Y is heavy attack, or light attack, heavy attack. If I hold in the left trigger, I draw out my bow. And then X, Y, and B now have special ability modifiers on them. X is going to be that meteor shot there, and so forth. If I pull in the right trigger, I get special modifiers on my daggers. So now I get this like long flurry that was just one tap. I get this toss where that's like an uppercut to launch guys, and I get fighting wind. So at any one time when you're playing, you have basically 2 standard heavy light attacks plus then 6 ability attacks, kind of 7 because with the bow here I have a standard attack with the bow. But basically you have 6 special moves that you can have mapped, and these can be changed. And this is with this class. Now, the interesting thing, or something that I find interesting that I like, is you can change your class whenever you want. Mostly whenever you want. So this innkeeper here has the ability, if we come in here, to change vocation. This is the first, and as far as I know, the only innkeeper that can do this, and you're going to run into him somewhere in the 3 to 4 hour mark your first time playing through. If you know what the game is, what you're doing, you can probably run through and get up to this guy in about an hour, maybe 90 minutes at most. And if we come in here, we can see there's actually a total of 9 vocations. So when you first create your character, you can choose either a fighter, a strider, which I chose, or a mage. And strider's 0 discipline right now because I've already had him unlocked. The fighter, the upgraded version that's more just focused on 2-handed weapons, is the warrior. The upgraded strider is the ranger. Excuse me. And the upgraded mage is the sorcerer. Then there's hybrid classes. Mystic Knight is a combination of fighter and sorcerer. Assassin is combination of strider and warrior. And Magic Archer is combination of sorcerer and strider. So you can see you can select any one of these, and we can unlock these however we want to go. Let's go ahead and let's unlock the Magic Archer. Yes. So we are now a magic archer, and we're gonna have different abilities that we can equip and weapons that we can equip. And you'll see here on the left, it tells me we have daggers, staff, and a magic bow. So we're gonna come on, we're gonna change our equipment. Yes, we're gonna come back in here. Weapons, I have a magic bow. Go ahead and equip that. And we're going to equip daggers. So this can be a little confusing the first time through. So you'll see here, there's actually 2 equipment windows within the weapons system, but you can only have 1 equipped in each. It gets a little confusing, mainly when you get down to the pants. So hats, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put on our normal hats. I don't know why they took all this stuff off. Put on that. Is there anything here higher? I'm just looking through. Some of this stuff has more weight, less ability. We'll stick with that. Here's another where it kind of looks weird. So you can equip a shirt and a chest piece. And the shirt's kind of more the aesthetic above it and below it. Come down here, gloves. We're going to go ahead and put those on. These items are in storage. That's why they show this little house icon. They're in my storage location. Pants. So you get the idea. And we're going to put that on. And that on. Okay, we're going to exit out, and now we're going to learn or set skills. Learn skills. So, I have 2,332 discipline. Discipline is just your basic XP that you learn. As you kill things, no matter what profession you're using, you get discipline for it. And then that discipline, you can mix and match however you want. I had a bunch of discipline left over. So, I had showed you earlier, there's 6 abilities that you can get. As such, you can go ahead and we come in here and let's say we'll go into bow. I can learn Seeker Bolt for 300. Fires a magic arrow that seeks out their targets. Up to 5 foes can be targeted at once. That's kind of cool. We're going to go ahead and we're going to learn that. We'll go ahead and we're going to learn Sunburst, I guess, because we have the points for it. Biting Wind's already learned because I learned it from the Strider. So we have 2 melee abilities. One of those we can learn. Oh, these are already been learned. These are just core skills like general performance upgrades. Nothing we can learn inside augments. Nothing we learn inside secret augments. So what you'll see here is on the left, there's kind of this like rank system. And we got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. You start off at 1. And as you move up, you unlock more abilities within that tree. This is kind of your proficiency with that class, with that profession. So with Magic Archer, since I just learned him, I'm 1. We're going to come over here, we're going to look at Palra. Palra is my pawn. This is a character I specially created. She's an AI character. She is been a fighter the entire time. I set her up to be my tank. So you see, she's basically 9 out of 10. Not basically, she is 9 out of 10. She's been a fighter for quite a while. She's very proficient at it. As such, most of her abilities are learned. Come in here, there's a few toss and everything, but I've learned the vast majority of her abilities. My main focus has been putting her stuff in the shield, tanking her up, making her a little more durable. Let's see, can any of these we want? Precision, easily perform perfect blocks. Yep, we definitely want that. Okay. Yeah, and that's about all we have points for. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to exit out, and we can come back in here and we can choose to set these. So we gave her a new one of these. We're going to give her a new augment. She can have up to 6 of those. We're going to come back over here to my character. Let's see in here. We now have a new primary. So Scarlet Kiss, Toss and Trigger, Biting Wind. I think we're going to get rid of Biting Wind, and we're going to put Sunburst down. An aerial somersault into a dive that plunges both blades into the earth and channels a pillar of magical flame that erupts directly ahead. Sure, let's try that. So that'll go on B. We don't have a staff equipped, and then 3-fold bolts there. We're also going to throw Seeker Bolt on there. And you can see as we get more abilities, we could add them on to X, Y, or B, but you're only ever going to have 3 at a time.
What will it be today?
Come back in here. I just want to show you one other thing just for general idea, generalification. You'll notice if we come up here to Ranger, my Ranger is 7 out of 10, and so is my Strider. So you can see these guys were far more developed. I had a lot of points invested in them before I changed it over, whereas nothing for any of these other characters for Powder. We'll go find some combat, and while we're doing that, I'll explain the pawn system. So, Palra is my pawn. You'll notice we're also being followed by the Scylla chick and Luna. Those were created by other players, and this is kind of the multiplayer system in this game. It's not a competitive multiplayer or anything like that. When you first create the game, roughly 35 minutes into the game, you're going to create your first pawn, your only pawn. And you have full customization. You can choose gender, height, appearance, and their starting class. And then that companion is going to follow you around everywhere you go. Now, while she's following you around, she's also being possibly hired out by other players of this game. So there's these stones you can go to where you can hire out other players' pawns, and that is who Luna and Scylla are. These are characters that were created by other players. So we'll talk Luna and Scylla here. While Luna and Scylla are running around following me, they're learning things. If we fight an enemy that they have not fought against with their player, I'm looking for some enemies here to attack. I unfortunately killed... is that a guy? That is a person. And oh, well, that was neat. I've never used this one before. And now I just raided a meter. Oh, that was neat. That was really neat. I like that. Hopefully that was not a friendly. There are friendlies in this world. That would have been bad. What was I saying? So the pawns will learn from things that we do. And, like, if you fight an enemy that they've never fought, they will learn how to fight that enemy. And when they go back to their... Oh, somebody's... Whoa, where'd you come from? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, these are, like, undead. Holy crap. Kill them all. Kill them all. Woo! Rain of arrows. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm marking targets. And we're going to shoot you with that. Yeah! Now we're gonna come in here and we're gonna do that. Yeah! If you do a quest, and the quest is not something that the pawn's primary owner has done and knows, when you complete that quest, they'll learn from that, and I should put my lantern on probably so you guys can see what I can actually see. Use, add lantern. There we go. Yeah, now we can see again. And when the other player, the player that owns the pawn, goes back and starts to do that quest, the pawn will actually call out and be like, oh, I know this quest. We want to go this way, master. And when you fight an enemy that they've fought, they'll say, oh, this enemy is weak against fire. This enemy is weak against frost. And the pawns learn that. So the more my pawn gets used by other people, the more my pawn knows, and the more I hire in these pawns, the more they know. Now you can swap out pawns that aren't yours. Obviously, I can't get rid of Paura, but these two I can go and basically swap out whenever I want to. I normally do it about every 3 or 4 levels. So once I'm 3 or 4 levels higher than a pawn, I go back, I swap them out, and get new pawns to go forward. Sometimes you'll actually find that when you go back, the pawn that you have currently with you, the other people are playing the game, has leveled up also. Scylla, this is the second time I've had her. I ran into her when I was like level 13. Ran into her again when I was level 18. I didn't hire at that point. And then I hired her again when I turned level 22. And so she's been kind of growing and leveling along with me as I've played the game. And that's kind of cool. It's an interesting element. It's a nice aspect of the game. It's a unique aspect to the game that makes Dragon's Dogma its own thing. Now, beyond that, I talked about the 3 games that it kind of reminds me of. It reminds me of Dark Souls, it reminds me of Dragon Age, and it reminds me of Witcher. So The Witcher, this one's the easiest one to explain. Mainly, it's the sandbox world. So if I can figure out how to zoom out here. Zoom out. Right stick. Oh, we were all the way zoomed out. Hang on, come on back down. You'll get a general idea of just how big this world is. So we started down here. This is where you first start off. This is Cassidus. This is the very beginning of the game. This up here is the capital city. And we are, however far we are from the city. Where's the city? It's back, not that way. It's on the other side of this wall. So there's the city. Just to give you a little bit of perspective of how far we are. So that's what, about, say, 400 yards, maybe 500 yards? It's a pretty darn big map. Quite a big map. And there's actually an expansion area. That's why this game is called the Dark... something? Not Dark Abyss. The game also has an expansion island you can go to beyond this, but this is the main game we're talking about right here. Quite a large sandboxy area, and there are towns and everything within this. You'll come across, like, this is a little fortress outpost. Out here's like another rest camp with NPCs. There are these friendly places out there that you're going to run into as you run along. The world is definitely nowhere near as detailed or entertaining as Witcher 3, but you get that sandboxy type feeling out of Dragon Age. Dark Souls, this is going to be where some people are going to be turned off, and I absolutely understand why. I, though, enjoy the game for this. The game, difficulty-wise, is not like Dark Souls. I'm not going to say that. It does get difficult, but it mostly gets difficult because you don't know, and this is where it's sort of like Dark Souls. There's a lot of trial and error, a lot of learning, a lot of just unknowns. By what I mean here is, we come in here, look at this quest. There's no identifications other than what my current active quest is, telling me the difficulties here. Is this quest easy? Is this quest hard? No idea. The only way to find out is you go and try and do it, and you either get your face eaten or you win. And a lot of people are going to find this very annoying. For example, very early on in the game, probably about 2 hours in the very starting area, you get a quest for sounds down in this well. There's this guy saying he's heard sounds down in the well. They're worried there's something down in there. They want you to go check it out. And it seems like a tutorial style early dungeon, like a simple dungeon you're supposed to do. And that is what it is. You're probably going to be about level 5 or 6 when you come across this. You won't know it, but it's actually like a level 12 quest. And you're going to go down in there and you're going to just get rocked by these lizard things. They're dangerous, they're tough, and they're going to be way above your difficulty. Some people are going to get really frustrated by that, and they're just going to quit, and they'll never come back. And that's understandable. Me, I like that challenge, that learning, that overcoming. I like getting my butt kicked at one point and then leaving and coming back a few hours later and just wrecking face. I'm like, ha! Ha! I showed you guys. But it can be frustrating at times. You'll also notice if I find more enemies here, enemies have no levels above their head. They just have a health bar. That's not an enemy. That's just a yak. We'll go back out this way. There should be some goblins up here. So until you've actually attacked an enemy and had that enemy attack you, you don't know if you're going to win or lose that fight. You don't know if you have a decent chance at it. It's just, oh, there's a zombie. So here's a zombie. We're going to just attack her. See, I did some damage, but I have no way of knowing her level. I don't know if she's dangerous to me or not until I actually try. Turns out she wasn't all that bad. And I can pick up a scythe. But for some people, that's going to be a real turn off. Where'd you come from? Where the heck did... He wasn't laying there the whole time. Where did he come from? Anyway. That's the Dark Souls side of it. It's not the boss difficulties. There are some interesting bosses that are somewhat Dark Souls-esque, but it's more just the hands-off approach. The game gives you an opening tutorial, a basic story, and then just sends you out there on your own into this sandbox, and you can end up in some really tough situations where you shouldn't have been there. It's level 30 gameplay, and you're there at level 6, like, what do I do? Well, you run away. That's what you do. And then Dragon Age, I think that part's probably going to be kind of obvious at this point. Dragon Age is where the combat and the party system is. Completely missed that. Oh, whole bunch of goblins. All right, here we go. Here we go. We're going to mark them up with arrows. And woo! I really like that ability. I like that ability. And yeah. Oh man, I like it. I like it. Should have tried this class out before. Whee! Magic Archer? Yeah, I'm pro Magic Archer. The Dragon Age, like I said, the combat kind of reminds me of Dragon Age. You have a few key spells that you're going to be able to use and auto abilities, but then you have basic combo attacks and stuff like that. It just doesn't have the depth that like Dark Souls would have for me to call that. And it's all just stamina based. You'll notice I have a stamina bar in the lower left-hand corner. That's the orange bar. So that gets used up when I run. It also gets used up when I use special attacks. And if you run out of that, we'll run out of it real quick here, your guy's kind of staggered for a little while. So if we just run around in circles here for a minute. Do 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 do. Running around, running around. Gonna run out here.
This looks interesting.
And now we're stuck.
Are you all right,
So if I try to
Martha?
attack here, there wouldn't be a whole lot I can do, and then you have to rest, and then once it starts filling back up again, you can continue on. Luckily, primary attacks and heavy attacks don't use your stamina. It's just any of your special ones that use this. Woo! Sunburst. I haven't used that one yet. Gotta use that. There's some minor. Let's find some more goblins. Yeah, this game really just speaks to me overall. I love it. The pawn system is interesting enough. The pawns can be a little annoying. They haven't shut up this entire time. They're constantly talking. Some people are going to find that frustrating, but I think overall they're a minor annoyance. Hey, don't be shooting your spidey web at me. Why can't I hit him? Oh, because he's dead. That's why I can't hit him. Spiders in a tree. Spiders in a tree. Better than snakes on a plane. Boy, that was a bad joke. I apologize for that one. They're still alive. You know, this game, it's $30 on PC. If you're anyone that enjoys any of those 3 games that I said, I think you'll find something here that you'll enjoy for that price tag. Even if you're someone that's not a big fan of those games, you might be impressed. Like, if you're someone that hates Dark Souls, you might still find that this one is actually very good because it's not quite as tough. The last thing I do want to talk about, and I'll show a video of it, we're going to cut here, we'll cut to a different clip, is an ogre fight. And this is a relatively early ogre fight, but it just shows how some of the larger, quote-unquote, I did air quotes there, bosses are handled. So they tend to be multi-stage fights. And the key to them is there's this nifty grapple mechanic that they have in the game, which allows you to actually grab a hold, and I have to sneeze. Sorry about that edit there, I had to sneeze. There's this nifty grapple mechanic. So if you're not playing an archer or a ranger, how can you handle some of these bosses that have like weak spots on their head and stuff? Well, you can grapple and climb up the bosses. And while you're climbing, it's using stamina, but you can get to like certain areas and you can stab them from in the head and everything while you're there. And it's really, oh, big hot lava. You guys aren't seeing this because you're watching the other part of the video, but there's a hot lava here. It's an interesting mechanic that really should be used a little more often. It's something that Dragon Age Inquisition should have had. It would have been a better game if it had this for when you were fighting the dragons and everything. It was really well done. So this ogre, first you want to take his tusks off because his tusks are dangerous. He can ram you and like spear him with those. And when you take his tusks off, it dazes him. Then shooting arrows or spells into his eyes is going to blind him and put him in a stun. But you can just shimmy up his back, get on the back of his shoulders, and just stab him in the head over and over and over again until he dies. And it's really neat. It's really well done. There's a Hydra fight relatively early on. It's kind of part of the tutorial. You shimmy up this Hydra's back, which is a giant, it's like 6 snakes together in an area. You shimmy on up and you cut the Hydra's head off. And that's how you beat the boss. It's great. It's a lot of fun. Is this game going to be for everybody? No, probably not. But I think it does appeal to enough people that at $32, it's a pretty safe bet. If you're slightly interested in, pick it up. You'll probably like it quite a bit. Speaking just for the port real quick, I'm running the port on my 770, 1080p max settings on everything, and I get a pretty good 90 to 110 FPS other than when I'm recording. When I'm recording, that takes it down to about 60 or 70. But a pretty steady 90 to 110 FPS, minus when some very big lighting effects go on, it might drop down to 70 or 80. If you have even a reasonably good video card, you're going to be able to run this thing at fairly high settings. Some of the load times can be a little bit annoying. Now this is mostly because when you do some of these things, the game saves and updates your pawn. So it has to pull pawn information like from the server to see what the pawns have learned while you weren't using it, and more information there. So it's not so much the save that takes a long time as it is the contacting the servers takes a long time sometimes. But even then, it's still nothing more than about 8 or 10 seconds for saves and loads from there. And yeah, I'm gushing over the game quite a bit. I really like it. I think it's a very good game. I'm interested to see what'll happen when some modders get a go at this. You know, maybe improve the AI of the pawns a little bit, maybe shut them up a little bit. A mod that makes them a little quieter, improve textures will be great. There's nothing really to dislike here, and I think that about covers it. So until next time, this has been Paler. Thanks for watching.